Don't stop me now.
What was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens?
Hello, weirdos. How's everybody doing out there in Weirdo Land? It is just Jaybird and Denny's today.
That's right.
And of course, producer Ariel, our new producer in the background, make some noise. And our studio audience member. Yes. We have one studio audience member. And of course, we've got the Chewy Cam going. Chewy is just kind of laid out today, Denny's.
He's just chilling. But yeah, Vicky, I guess her dog got into a thing with a rabbit, so they're taking it to a treatment place.
Yeah, I guess her dog ate rabbit food. Is that what happened?
I think her dog like attacked a rabbit, and then they saved the rabbit, but they brought it to a place to have it like
I gotta start reading
rehabilitated.
I gotta read my text messages full on, man. I thought it ate rabbit food. Well, we're wishing Vicky's dog and the rabbit very good wishes.
Absolutely. And Beckett.
Now let's take a little poll here. Beckett is not here. He texted me about 9 o'clock today. Hey, I know Vicky's not going to be there today. I'm not feeling that well. Do you need me? What do you think? I didn't think. Is Beckett sick? Because he said he wasn't feeling well. Is he sick or is he hungover?
He's hungover, probably. If I had to guess.
So hungover.
He probably just got back in town.
He is so hungover. So you guys are just stuck with Denny's and Bird.
Oh, yeah.
The show must go on. We want everybody here, but the show must go on. Denny's, let's talk about this. We got an email from Andrea from Port St. Lucie. It says, I notice you guys barely talk about astrology. I'm big into it. In fact, I use the stars to make critical decisions in my life. There's a true science behind it. We can even predict what type of weather and seasons we have if we take the time to get in tuned with it. I actually ended up marrying my husband based on reading the stars. Wanted to see what y'all's thoughts were. Love the podcast, Andrea from Port St. Lucie. Astrology. Is this a bunch of bullshit or is there something to it?
Well, you could argue that one would be more accurate than a lot, just because the stars have been around longer than us, that people would look to them for guidance. That's almost like a higher power.
Would you ever make a matter of the heart type of decision based on astrology?
Personally, I probably wouldn't, but if you were raised around that, and that's your world, then yeah, you would probably make all your decisions based around astrology. I've known people that base all decisions around astrology.
So is astrology and tarot cards, is that kind of the same world? Are you matching the chat room? Let me know. Studio audience members, let me know. Astrology, tarot cards, do they go hand in hand?
So only in the sense that they're both non-religious forms of, trying to make predictions about your life, how to live your life. But yeah, no, so tarot cards would be you're reading cards and you're determining somebody's future based on what the cards, the fates of time have presented to you based on the cards you've pulled. Astrology, you're looking to the stars, the constellations, and the stories behind that, and to guide you through your life based on when you're, born.
Well, so you're basically using the sky as a compass.
That's why that one kind of would make the most sense to me, only in the sense that the stars are something to look to for guidance.
I mean, who knows? What if the stars is part of the puzzle? You know what I mean? Of just what all of this is. It's just one of the little, if you understand the stars, you may be able to understand how this all works.
The cosmos.
There's got to be something mystical about that, of course. The cosmos?
Definitely. Well, so H.P. Lovecraft always talks about, Cthulhu and stuff, gods, elder ones who have come from the cosmos, and they possess knowledge that men can't handle, women can't handle either, just using his words.
Sexist pig.
It was in like 1908 they wrote this shit. So
you're a sexist pig.
Get out of here. So people could not fathom the intelligence that they would get just by looking upon the creatures. Their brains would not be able to comprehend it. And that madness, actually, the closer you dance towards madness, the more enlightened you become. But there's a fine line, because if you go too mad, then you lose everybody. There's a fine balance between madness and insight.
There's a balance with everything. Work, relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
Food, diet. dog affection. Am I petting him too much? Is it getting weird?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a balance with all of this.
Well, so if you surround your life with anything that you believe to be profound, you're probably going to follow that as your guide. You know what I'm saying? So if the stars are that, then you would follow, the astrology. If, even you could even reduce it down to, we got the Chewy Cam going, say your love for animals guides you. That's your drive, your passion. Then you're probably going to base your life around that passion.
What's your guide? What guides a guy like a Denny's?
I kind of love the fact that nobody knows the answers, and that kind of makes you almost more powerful because, like, somebody comes at you about something, you could just be like, dude, you don't know. Nobody knows the answer. You could take solace in the fact that no one can outsmart you on that. Nobody knows.
I agree with that philosophy, and the fact that I got a couple scathing emails because we kind of talked about that last week about some people just don't know. None of us really know what's going on. And I respect all religions and whatever you believe, but what we were just saying is nobody really does know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And the fact that, so the clapback that me and you got from that segment, I didn't print out the email, but
paraphrase.
It was something along the lines of, you guys saying that you don't know, you guys are living in a world of absolutes. That's your stance, and you're saying nobody knows. But I'm like, well, you can do that with anything.
You could fill in the blank with anything.
You could say this pizza is delicious. No, it's not. It's not delicious. And you go round and round. It's really a matter of semantics, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, so, I mean, a lot of people, if they do say stuff like that, I mean, that's fine for them to say.
Oh.
I just feel like that there is a comfort in knowing that there is no actual answer. I feel like a lot of people put pressure on it has to be this way or it has to be that way, and in all actuality, it does not.
I completely agree. I think that nobody knows what this shit is going on when it comes to why we are here. Nobody knows.
Everybody's just speculating.
We all got our little safety.
There's no one you can go to for the answer.
No, but some people will say they do know. They believe in their whatever so much that they dig their heels in and go, no, you're wrong for even questioning anything. And
well, that's why I like faith. I think that's good for people to have. I think that's why it's there. You need something. If you can't visualize it yourself as something you can believe corely yourself, if you find other words already written or other people who inspire you, I feel like you should go with that because you need something. Otherwise, you're just a husk of a person.
You need hope in this world. If you don't have hope, as soon as your soul starts to kind of decay and you don't look forward to things anymore and you're just existing, there needs to be
that's when people give
mind
up.
shift there.
That's when people give up.
And I guess you would wonder if someone's at that state mentally, they're already kind of giving up. How do they get out of that rut?
That's why despair is hard to get out of, and that's why it's very tough to watch people go through. When people are sunken in a sorrow, a despair that they just can't get out of, you lose humanity in yourself. You become just an item.
Why do you think some people are able to get through bouts of despair compared to other people? Because some people can really get knocked on their ass in life.
Absolutely.
And they can be down and out. But whether it's 10 years, 20, they do battle back, and there's somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel. What's the difference between someone like that and someone who cannot get through the despair?
I think it's what life has thrown at you. It's where you started in the race. I think if you've had despair at a young age, you're going to be able to handle it better. Or if you've overcome hard things at a young age, you'll overcome it better. Plus chemistry, though, if your body is designed differently and you get to the age of 30 and you've never had anything tragic happen and then it happens, you can still bounce back from it, but maybe a different person would not because they had no ever experience before. I think a lot of it's chemistry, and I think a lot of it's past experiences.
I think you nailed it, Peace Train. I think chemistry is such a big part of why anybody reacts on anything.
Well, you could have twins, and their brain chemistry is very similar, and genetically they're very similar, but there are still slight differences, especially if they've had different things happen to them at different times in their lives. They might handle things differently.
Let's go ahead and check out the chat room, see what the people are saying, Denny's. We got King Fatty 2 in the chat room. Leaving work, need to come crash the podcast and smoke weed with y'all. All right, thank you, King Fatty, for that feedback. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
A lot of people in the chat room are hungover.
I get it, man. Saturdays.
Here, I get it.
Well, I mean, the school week just wrapped up. I'm sure a lot of people were out partying last night, if I had to guess.
Jen Napoli in the chat room says, absolutely correct, Denny's. My twin sister can't handle anything.
Yeah, I think it's brain chemistry. Some people just, however your brain is connected.
Why are you trying to put a wedge between the Napoli twins?
I'm not. But I think just no matter what, no matter how close or similar you are to somebody, I mean, chemistry in the brain is going to be different. It's just unfortunate.
It is.
I don't think anything can be identical.
And a big part, I think, on how people handle all shit in their life is a big part of how they were raised age 1 through 14.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
If you had a shitty childhood and you didn't have a structure where someone's caring about you, throwing discipline, teaching you that's there for you, there's a chance you could be fucked up.
Oh, absolutely. So on the KVJ show, you guys talk a lot about relationship drama and drama between, the genders and whatnot. But the really core thing that bums me out about all of the drama I hear about on the show is just that a lot of the times a parent will be like, I'm so annoyed that my husband never hangs out with our kid, or vice versa, whatever it be.
Are you talking about people that call in, or are you talking about
people that call in and have drama that we
Okay.
take on the show? What bums me out about it is I hear them talking about it, and it's, my husband doesn't do this, my wife doesn't do this, blah, blah, blah. But they don't even care about what their kid is going through in those moments. A lot of times it's a lot about what's going on with them in their life, or how much they're using their personal vendetta against their spouse, their ex-spouse, whatever, and they're totally blinded by the fact that they're saying all this in front of their child. I think the responsibility of having a kid is so great, and every year we throw distractions at kids and don't pay attention to them, and then when they become shitty adults, people get real bent about it. But you're like,
okay, let's talk about that for a second. What makes a shitty adult? You got a kid that's born, mom, dad, boom. Where does it go wrong to where the kid starts to turn into a shitty adult?
well, so I think there's a spectrum at which of shittiness that a kid could be.
Agreed.
From when they become an adult, how shitty they really
There-
are.
There's evil.
So on the one
there's-
side, you got kids that are no matter what, are just they were born and they just have a chemical imbalance that's going to cause them to not fall into society properly.
Yes.
And they're going to be deemed a bad person for whatever actions they do, whether it's robbing, murder, stealing, whatever there's going to be. That's just what kind of person they are. Then you have the other spectrum where people do absolute best. They're the greatest. They don't do anything wrong. They try not to toxic their body. They do everything right. You have that whole spectrum. And in between there, you have experiences that they're going to go through in their life. And depending on where they are between evil and good, they're going to handle all those situations differently. And I think a lot of people are probably dead in the middle, or probably they hover around like 40%, 20% to this way, 20% to this way, somewhere in that spectrum.
I would agree that the middle percentage of just people, humans, is between 40 and 60, where they're going to probably agree on most things.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So in that spectrum, you have a situation that comes along. Hey, you have an opportunity to get a free $100 because you see it fall on the floor, but you also saw the lady drop it. We're just going back to standard ethics here. And you see the lady drop it. So in that spectrum of 40%, probably 20% is going to give the money back. 20% is not. In the middle, that's a swing vote, whatever they decide to do. But based on their experiences up to that point, we'll decide why they make that decision. Maybe the kid read something when he was a kid that said, give the money back, and then there's a reward. Maybe another person was told, take that money because the government's going to try to fuck you constantly. So you just don't know how their upbringing brought them to that point where they made that decision. Then if they get away with that decision, are they going to continue to do it? Or are they going to stop because they felt bad about it? You just don't know. It could go any way. It just depends on what they did as a kid. Like when I was a kid, I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of stories where the hero was triumphant. He was the protagonist. It wasn't. Now we got this new wave stuff where the guy's kind of a bad guy, but he's making that turn. He's got that heart of gold,
Yeah, people
That's
do.
a more recent concept.
It is. People love a bad guy that's got.
He's the anti-hero.
Yeah, he's got that heart of gold, like you're saying.
But he's bad
It's
fundamentally.
kind of like when a girl is dating a bad boy.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I can change him. I know I can change him.
It's not going to change.
He's not gonna change. That guy's gonna always be a dick. I'm telling you, he's just gonna be a 45-year-old dick.
It's a unicorn when they change.
Oh, it's a rarity.
Same with the bad girl, though. Too.
Oh, the
You go
bad
either
girl.
way.
Yeah, it's so hard for humans to evolve. Once you hit 30 and you're still a shitty person, it starts to.
Well-
you got to really get enlightened, I think, or something's got to happen for you to change your ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, something profound has to happen. But we're designed to chase pleasure. We are. Like foods, people like foods. You eat foods for comfort. They even
do.
have a term for it. So it's something that happens. You also, activities that people like to do. People like to work out, work on their bodies, whatever their thing is. People, they want to create goals and achieve them, and they want to succeed at them. There's a positivity that humans chase. We just, even with sexual intercourse, you chase pleasure. Everybody just chases pleasure, and they push away pain. So if things cause you pain, you're going to try to push them away. If things cause you pleasure, you're going to try to continue on with them.
I always talk. It's interesting that you bring that up. Just about things that you're chasing. People don't want to talk about pain. They're always going to
Avoiding
that.
it.
And I always talk on the KVJ show how, there's no awkward moments for me, man. I love awkward moments. And I think I'm coming to the realization that I love entertainment awkward moments. Those are different than personal awkward moments. I don't like personal awkward moments.
I hate them.
And I think I don't deal with them the greatest way. I mean, I'm getting better, but who likes to do awkward moments in their personal life? It really sucks.
Absolutely. And you probably just got used to them from doing them on air. Because there's times where we'll talk about something that we're like, oh, people will be like, oh, that's crazy that you had a pink shirt and a big hat. But ultimately, for you, that's not crazy because that's a thing you've done, and you've actually exceeded craziness well beyond that.
But other things in your personal life might be a little bit more awkward.
It depends what's important to you. If it's
I hate hurting people's feelings. So whether if it's work related or if it's relationship related or if it's friendship related, I'll avoid things to not hurt someone's feelings. If I'm uncomfortable with something and I need to bring it up, I don't like to do it because it makes me uncomfortable. It sucks, man. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. The personal uncomfortable shit. I'm not good at that, I don't think.
Yeah, I
thought I wasn't good, but I guess I'm not.
It's probably because the only thing you really have, I mean, we have possessions, we have friends, we have family, all that fun stuff. But the only thing you really have is just yourself. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's the only thing that you have. Is that an alarm? Oh,
that's our new producer's phone. She left it on. I kind of like this relaxed environment, though. I like phones going off in the background. There's no schedule here, Denny's.
Oh, we're just chilling.
Yes, as you were. I mean, Chewy didn't even move a muscle. Chewy is breathing, right? Okay.
Yeah, we actually have checked it a few times because last time I remember people were commenting saying the Chewy Cam, they thought it was frozen.
Best effing dog out there. All right. I know every dog owner says that. But he really has a human-like personality. And I also know every dog owner says that, too.
Absolutely.
But he really does act like a human, man. It's
Absolutely.
weird.
Humans love to personify things, though.
They do.
Not that I'm discrediting Chewy's humanness.
But then sometimes we take selfies together, and me and Chewy look alike. I know, it's weird, man.
They say that. Do you think there's any science behind that, where humans look like their dogs look like their owners, or their cats look like their owners?
So I think right now, me and Chewy are in the same stages of our lives. We're both going gray. We're both limping around. We're both still trying to make it happen.
That's why you got like a brotherhood now.
But life has knocked it down just a peg. You just slow down a bit as you get older.
You do.
Not to say that you can't nail it as you get older, because you can.
Well, so
you just gotta work harder.
There was and Beckett would probably know, since he's not here and all. But
hey, Beckett, Beckett.
He loves that show.
He's. Not to interrupt you, but there's no way Beckett is not laying with a chick right now.
Oh, probably.
They're making out right now. She's playing and feathering his hair.
They're laying on like a giant horse with like a blanket laid across.
I picture Beckett's bed like a giant horse.
Yeah, it's on top of two horses that just permanently fixated.
There's a mane. While a girl can rub his mane, you can look at a horse mane. I can see it.
When he shaves, he uses the horse mane to like put the lather on.
Yeah,
that's all speculation.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. People don't like when I do that.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
I can't even remember.
Let's delve into another topic, Denny's. We have a email here from, let's not do that email. What are your thoughts on shapeshifting? Now, hear me out.
Human shapeshifting, like druids and stuff.
Hear me out on this. I was in a very, very intense conversation with this woman at Publix about shape-shifting. By the way, I have a lot of intense conversations at Publix, and I love it. I love it.
You do get confronted a lot. Not
I
confronted
do.
is a bad word, not to put a negative.
No.
You get approached a lot.
Approach a lot of Publix, and
Yeah.
I welcome it. If you see me at Publix, come up to me. Let's talk about anything. I don't care. But she was saying that she believed in shape-shifting and at some point on this planet, meaning some humans that were more of the psychic level, more of the gifted level, were able to maybe not shift
Like their shape entirely.
That's tough to say. Yes, shift
Shift.
into a like a demon or something, but they're able to change up their look oh so slightly. So for example, you would be walking down the street, you committed a crime, and you're able to shape shift into a face that makes you look slightly different, so
Yeah.
you're not going to get confronted.
Change your hair color, something like that.
And when she said that, I said the only thing I would consider it being real when it comes to shape shifting is what if, and hear me out, Denny's,
Yeah.
and studio audience, are you still out there?
Yeah.
What if we were being visited by aliens and they were the ones shape shifting into different types of humans? That if you believe in aliens like I do, and I know you
Yeah.
do, why is that such an out of the line theory?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Well, so if you want to get conspiracy with it, they say that reptile race that pretty much runs everything is a shape-shifting race. That they disguise themselves as humans and political figures and celebrities.
Again, Hillary Clinton was the
That's
lizard
what they
woman.
say, yes.
Again, don't send me the political emails because I'm not going to read them. It's just commenting. It's out there. Google it.
Yeah, it is.
I think other politicians were.
Tons of politicians, tons of celebrity, which that's what its main criticism is like, oh, they're out there in the public eye as these celebrities and these politicians.
And I don't really believe Hillary Clinton's a reptile.
For sure. But that's what people use as an argument. But at the same time, you think that would make the most sense for them to emulate because those are the people that people look up to and follow.
Now, I think when you target politicians, it seems politically
That's what it immediately puts an
motivated.
agenda on it.
But the concept of shape-shifting lizard people,
It's pretty hard to swallow.
It's hard to swallow, but is it really?
It's not really that far outside
It's
the
really
realm.
not. No, if you are a person who believes in aliens like we do, it's something that you would have to consider if there was a syllabus of alien possibilities.
Well, so I guess it kind of throws me off when people are like, yes, I'm an avid alien believer. I believe in aliens, but not reptile race. And you're like, well, I mean, if you believe in aliens, why couldn't an alien reptile race come here? Not that I'm a reptile supporter. I'm just saying.
Can I get an amen in the audience for that? We got hallelujah. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, people do discredit that one pretty quick. That's one of the first ones to go if you throw up a conspiracy list of aliens, reptile races like that. But think about it. Back when they first discovered. So, all right, bear with me here. So if you go back to when
Go on a
first,
tangent.
the first sighting of a UFO, the government hears about it and they're like, what the fuck? That got out? The first thing you're going to do is try to discredit that immediately. Send out a news story that says, crazy guy sees flying saucer in like, they put it in like goofy quotes. They show a picture of the guy like where he looks like gross, where he's like kind of half turned or something. So it makes him look bad. Everybody reads that the next morning. At the time, news is still super credible in America. People read that and they're like, oh, this nut job's talking about UFOs. Now another story emerges, same type of thing. Guy sees little green men. Dude, the minute you see that, it's a goofy title. It discredits all that. You can tell the guy who wrote the story isn't supporting the fact that green men were seen. It's kind of used negatively, so very, very, very subliminally negative.
So I'm glad you brought that up because an article just dropped, I think 2 days ago, about how they're changing the name UFOs.
All right.
So in a sense, the UFO community is now becoming politically correct because UFO makes people sound like they're wearing tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
Like you're talking
Negative.
about, oh, my name's Bubba, I saw our thing. So the people who are really seeing legit UFO sightings are, they don't want to be called the tinfoil type people.
100%.
So now here's the politically correct term.
I love it.
For all of you UFO believers. We're not calling them UFOs anymore. They're now called unexplained aerial phenomena.
All right. So I see it softens it. Because it does. The other one has a bad. You hear UFO, you're like, oh, UFO talk. Here we go.
Well, if I say, hey, Denny's, oh, no, not you, because you would actually believe me. But if I go in the KVJ show, guys, I saw a UFO. Oh, Jay Bird, you're so dumb. What the fuck? Now, if I go on there and go, guys, I believe I saw a
Unexplained
aerial phenomena. It's got a little bit more Britishness to it, Denny's.
It does, but so you can see when the first UFO was probably spotted, there's a pretty good chance that could either been an alien or it could have been a military aircraft. Could have been one of the two. So why would the government immediately jump on it to try to discredit it? It had to have been military, right? That would be the main motivator.
So, well, this story.
But then there are later sightings. Now, here's where the confusion sets in. Not to cut you off.
No, I was cutting you off.
So they've already established that it's kind of hokery. It's goofy. It's goofiness that there's aliens and stuff. And then what if you actually do see an alien thing? Now it's hard to convince that initial crowd to even move over to the new crowd, which has seen it because it's been discredited so much.
I completely agree. The New York Times just released a story about Navy pilots encountering unidentified flying objects, bird, aka UFOs, or Denny's.
Unidentified aerial phenomena?
Unexplained aerial phenomena. Now, U.S. Navy pilots reported seeing strange objects in the sky over the East Coast almost daily between the summer of 2014 and March of 2015. Initially, many of the pilots suspected the objects might be part of their highly classified drone testing program, but in late 2014, one pilot reported in a near collision with an object that flew past his cockpit and looked like a sphere encasing cube. So what's going on right now? And you wonder. These are the new reports that are coming out in the UFO world. If you see a UFO, if you are Joe Schmo or Jane Schmaine looking up in the sky and see a UFO, they're saying, well, it's probably not a UFO. Or it's not a UFO that has aliens in it. It's part of the military. And we're now in that time where we've reverse engineered some of the stuff that supposedly we have found. And the military has gotten so good at emulating UFOs. The stuff you see in the sky could be human-based or it could be alien. And now we're living in that blurred lines, as Robin Thicke so poetically put.
Yeah, and it could be other countries, too, with their top secret projects. So, I mean, there's so many things it could be, which ultimately just makes it even more difficult for people to decipher whether it's real or not.
Let's get a test. Let's ask the audience real quick. Do you think the UFOs are military-based? Do you think they are alien-based? Or do you think it is both?
All of the above.
Clap if you think it's just the military. Clap if you think it's just aliens. Clap if you think it's both.
I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be both. Combo.
Listen to that crowd. It is wild here live at Sasquatch Recordings.
So technology took a boom with the silicon chip. That was the one that changed it all. So that's what they argue is one of the things reverse engineered using the silicon chip.
Well, go into detail on that.
Well, so that's what just our computers run on. We use circuitry on a silicon chip, and that's where the term Silicon Valley over in California, when everybody started the boom with computers. Computers used to be the size of like an entire building. Then they became the size of an entire room. Then they became our personal computer. And now we have them on our laptops. Now we have them on our phones. They say the technology, I mean, an article I read probably in like 2010 was saying the power of the phone at that time, which was like initial smartphone, was more powerful than the one that NASA used to get the aircraft around the dark side of the moon and back.
But we didn't go to the moon, right, Denny's?
Well, so you could argue back when they first announced it. I don't want to get too much into it, but when they first announced it. Well, so we're in a competitive race.
We need material
against Russia. We want to prove that our country's better at the time. It's very American pride. And same with Russia, wants to prove that they're the best. But they could never get past the radiation fields. Everything they sent up there died of radiation. And they just couldn't figure it out. But us Americans did it. And that was us winning the space race. So the argument, they said, is just how did the Americans get past those radiation fields to the moon?
So my whole thing is, am I the only one that thinks it's odd that we went to the moon from 1969 to 1972,
and then never,
and then we stopped. And now
it's hard as fuck to get there.
It is hard as F. I'm trying to clean it up.
I heard
Denny.
you say one earlier.
You said 3.
I didn't know your count.
Do we have an F-bomb count? Is Denny's at 3 or 2? I know I've had 1. All right, we're trying to clean it up, everybody. But yeah, it is weird to me that from 1969 to 1972, we did all of these moon landings and these moon test runs, and you say it's hard AF, and I get that, but in 1969 and 1972, technology was bullshit compared to what it is now.
You think they'd be all about it?
Of course. If we're able to go to the moon in 1969, why the shit can't we go to the moon on the reg in 2019? I mean, I get why there's so much weirdness when it comes to the moon. Some people are like you. They don't think we went to the moon. Some people are like me. They think there's alien bases on the moon. I truly believe the moon is a place where aliens they either stop there to relax or they're there to get some snack. I don't know. But they're doing something on the moon. Maybe it's just a place where they post up and relax. I don't know. But something is weird when it comes to the moon.
Well, yeah, the moon is very important for us to exist. So you wonder if it was put there intentionally. Well, it is. People don't give any credit to the moon.
Denny's over here mansplaining the moon.
Yeah, but it's super important. Otherwise, we would have no consistency in seasons and temperature. So you wonder how did that get so perfectly accessed, where it's like the appropriate size and everything to keep us on a perfect access?
If you could, in the weird and whatever comment section, not the chat going on right now, but after the podcast is loaded up, we want to ask you the YouTube question of the day. When it comes to the moon, do you guys think that there's anything going on there, or is it just this big old,
just a big rock,
or do you think that there's a
moon base, alien, human
alien activity? Would you live on the moon? I mean, we're talking now how the future, within 10 years, we're going to be able to live on the moon.
Well, I thought it was weird how we I think NASA originally lost funding. That's why we didn't necessarily pursue it too much longer. I mean, after the race, I think everybody was like, hurrah. And
that's
then
an easy excuse.
Yeah, I hear you.
You're going to go there to think about that. You're a conspiracist thinking, I mean, you think that you're 69 to...
No, I hear you, man. Technology is phenomenally better now. But so now they're talking about going to Mars. That's what I thought was weird. We were like, fuck the moon. Oh, sorry. And then we were like, all right, we're going to go straight to Mars. So I was like, wow, what a jump. Like, Mars is way farther than the moon, you know? It's almost like, did you think that was weird? That there's projections that, like, by 2040, we're going to be out in Mars.
Yeah, I think that's real weird, but I also think that it's weird that from 69 to 73 or 74 that I'm talking about, guns ablazing, going to the moon. All of a sudden, nothing. We're not, fuck the moon. We've already hit our F quota at this point. So, by the way, this is 18 and older.
It has become.
So, you've gone to the moon. You've already done that. The fact that you're not able to do it now with all the technology, I mean, I've already said.
It's suspicious.
It's really suspicious. What? Tell me why you can't do that now? Because of funding?
That's what I read.
That's the easiest shit to say about anything.
Absolutely,
hey,
government funding.
Kevin, why can't we do weird, wacky Wednesdays anymore?
So
funding.
I'll look into it. I'll report next podcast because I'm curious. I saw that they said that the funding after they had succeeded, it kind of like lost a little bit of steam there.
That's some bullshit, right?
All right, I'll look more into it.
We can't go to the moon because of funding.
I hear you, man. I thought it was suspicious too. So, I'm with you.
Keep going.
So the other day,
you want to do a game called What is Scarier?
All right, I like it.
Okay, here we go. First question: what would be scarier for you, Denny's? A monster that is covered in bloody fur, face to face,
all right,
or a monster covered in scales? Bloody fur versus scales. What do you got?
Bloody fur is scarier.
Really?
What do you think? Scales?
Absolutely not. I'm going scales all day long. Because I feel like a monster that's got fur on it could possibly be, I don't know, some kind of like bear or an animal. I just feel like a large...
Well, the bloody fur grosses me out because it's like been in a confrontation. It clearly doesn't care if it leaves the blood on its fur. It like dries. I feel like it's savage. I don't know. Like the reptile with, I think it's a big ass lizard, which I wouldn't be happy about either.
And for this scenario, both are 7 feet long. 7 feet long, furry, 7 foot long, furry monster covered in blood. 7 foot monster covered in scales.
Dude, bears are terrifying.
It's scales.
Nah, man.
Epic scale.
Dirty fur. It could have mange. There's so many more things you could get.
All right. 0 for 1, Denny.
Okay.
What is scarier, a hungry cannibal or a horny zombie who loves moaning loud? Denny. What's scarier for you? You're face to face. Hungry cannibal.
Hungry cannibal.
That's scarier for you?
Yeah. Because the moaning loud, I mean, at least I'm
Well-
kind of like flattered, I guess.
I think it's a trick question. I think the zombie's scarier because the zombie's going to try to eat you regardless.
He's going to eat you and he's horny.
And he's moaning.
He's
Or
like
she's moaning.
Necrophilia. Yeah, I hear you. That's pretty terrifying. I'd say the hungry cannibal.
Studio audience, what's scarier? Hungry cannibal or horny zombie?
Hungry cannibal.
Zombie? All right, we have a tie here.
Wow.
Got a tie. All right, Denny's. What is scarier? 10 cocaine-fueled gremlins in your bathroom while you're pooping, or getting a massage by Freddy Krueger, coupled with a happy ending?
Freddy Krueger.
That's scarier.
Yeah, the Gremlins. I mean, like at least they're partying, right? Like the Freddy
Nah.
Krueger.
I gotta go. I think the gremlins is scarier.
Why?
Yeah. You're pooping. You're so vulnerable. I feel like, well, I guess you're vulnerable too when you're getting a massage.
And Freddy Krueger's gonna be like, I'm gonna be in your dreams.
The difference between Freddy and the Gremlins: Gremlins can't turn it off. Freddy can. Freddy could just rub you
Yeah.
and make it peaceful just to fuck with your mind.
He's like, dude, I'm not happy about this either.
exactly.
Yeah, I hear
The
you.
Gremlins, they're animals, baby.
You're right. You
I'm
can't
going
control
animals.
them.
I'm going Gremlins. All right, and that last, what is scarier? Waking up, looking down, and seeing that your private parts are gone. You have no idea. Your dick is gone. You look down, nothing. You have no idea what happened. Or, I mean, you can play if you're playing along at home. It can be your vagina. Or waking up in a trunk of a car where you hear a bunch of people talking about plotting your murder.
Oh, jeez. The second one's way scarier.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
The other one, I'd be bummed out, and I'd be like, "What's happening to my body?" But like, I mean, if you're hearing your inevitable murder,
I disagree with your choice here because what if the trunk thing is someone playing a joke on you,
or you escape.
or you can escape?
Yeah.
When you wake up with your privates gone, and you have no idea what happened, that's your reality. You cannot at that point change it. You could possibly change the trunk.
I guess I'm just bummed out about how I find out how I pee. Like you're just hanging out. How would you pee?
Through your nose.
All right, that's the change.
Obviously, Denny's. kind of a dumb question. Okay, I think it's time now to lead into some Denny's random facts. Ariel, would you join us for the random facts today? Vicky is gone. Beckett is gone. We don't have our full army today, but we're gonna have Ariel judge and grade Denny's random facts. Go ahead, feel free with your commentary. If it's a bad fact, Ariel, get on Denny's. Okay. He needs to learn.
Yeah.
How are you today, Ariel?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very good. Can we hear her good? Go ahead, speak.
La 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 la. That's not speaking. Hi, how are you?
Can you hear her?
Can you hear me?
I
I
can't.
mean, you're super low. Are you talking in directly?
Talk-
I mean, this is me with my mouth.
Hey,
touching the
chat
mic.
room, if you can you hear Ariel right now? We can always edit this part out. I don't hear her at all, actually.
Oh, it's weird. I hear her. That's
Okay, it's probably my own thing. Okay, Denny's,
So you ready for these things?
we are ready for your random facts. Give it to us.
Well, so here's a world record that it's so funny because we always look at world records that could be broken and whatnot. And this one I never even thought about, but the world record for the loudest thing ever shouted belongs to an Irish female teacher who shouted the word quiet at a decibel level of 121, which is the equivalent of a jet engine.
That's loud?
That's how loud she is. And her sister did it afterwards, and she was like a 119. And she's had this record, I think the article said, for 12 years now. How has nobody ever tried to break that record? How loud can you yell? You don't have to do it, but like that's like a record you should try to break, that type of record.
Okay. I feel like when it comes to the record breaking, I need to make the record and stop chasing other people. I think people.
Well, so I wouldn't say do this one, but that style of record,
hear
where,
ya.
like, because that's such an easy one. The loudest thing yelled.
the loudest anyone's ever punched their stomach.
See, like, I guarantee nobody's ever done that.
Okay. I don't hate that. I think I can achieve that. Ariel, they're saying they couldn't hear you. Go ahead and give the critique.
Hi. I feel like I'm very
You're good now. Oh
loud,
yeah,
though.
very
I
good.
didn't even touch it.
You're perfect now. Okay, Denny's gave that fact. What's your grade on that?
Being, because I mean, it just seems weird to scale how loud someone can be. Like in a class, like how did that come about?
Well, when it comes to the world records, I think a lot of people chase stupid, silly shit.
Well, so it came about because the students wrote a letter saying that their teacher yelled so loud, and I guess a newspaper found it, and they contacted her, and then Guinness asked if she wanted to try to beat the world record at the time, 12 years ago. And so she goes, yeah, and they went to her room, and she yelled the word quiet, and they measured it with a decibel reader, and it was 121, and it beat the old record of 119, which her sister also was able to beat as well.
Okay, A-.
Jennifer DeLong wants to know, what does that even mean, Jason? Jennifer DeLong, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Is he talking about the loudest sound of getting punched in the stomach?
Oh, Jennifer.
I was wrapping my head around it too, but I see what you're saying. Like you get hit with something and it's the loudest noise that can be produced off of the sound of you getting hit in the stomach.
Okay, Jennifer DeLong, that's exactly what that means. So, for example, if Denny's took a
Fish.
a fish, a trout, if you will, or a snook, and he slapped it as hard as he could on my stomach, what's the loudest sound we could get? Who has that record? I don't think anybody's even
I think
tried
that's
it.
a beatable record.
And that is the kind of records I need to start chasing. Great question, Jennifer DeLong. I love it. I give you an A on that.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm a Denny's head. I'm a big fan. I'm a big old fan. All right, what else you got?
Well, so I guess I found this and didn't. I'll have to ask one of our friends who's a marathon runner, and if anyone in the chat is. But I guess there's a practice where some marathon runners have their toenails permanently removed. Their level of running causes friction on the toes and results in a lot of toenail injuries and routinely having to check their toenails for damage or detachment. To circumvent this chronic nail wounds, people just get rid of them entirely. And I looked into it, and I guess they support it, saying that people don't need toenails anymore. We wear shoes every day. We don't need to dig our feet. We just don't need it. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on removing your toenails?
Runners already think they're better than everybody. So people like insane runners that remove their toenails, it's so annoying because they're so much better than me. I mean, people who run and work out their body, they're very motivated. They're motivated people, baby.
Would you be able to eroticize a toenailless toenail? Would toeless toenails turn you on still?
If I was into a girl, I think this is what you're asking me. If I was into her and I look down when I'm macking down on her feet,
Yep.
do I get turned off by her toeless?
She has no toenails.
Not toeless.
Her toenailless toes.
Her toenailless toes. I do not get turned off by that.
She's like rubbing them on your eyes.
Fingernails and toenails. I mean, I could give a shit. Even if a girl had jacked up feet, I'm talking. I mean, Yoda feet. If I was into her, that would not be a deal breaker by any means. And I know we all go through our own little shallow list when it comes to the physical sides of who we're attracted to.
Yeah.
That jacked up feet, not one on my list. Ariel, your thoughts on this?
I can't imagine how painful that is, because that's like a form of torture, is ripping off someone's toenails.
You know what, though? I've had a couple toenails fallen off before, and they were bruised, and they fell off really easily, and they didn't hurt.
Wow.
So I wonder if there's a way they can do that.
I know ballerinas have pretty, like...
Jacked up feet.
Jacked up feet, yeah.
They're in the trade of jacked up feet.
I mean, I think we all learned.
So, I mean, it makes sense. You get an A.
We all learned that from Black Swan.
Did you see that movie?
No.
I did not actually. I've seen. You know what? I've seen Black Swan in
Theory?
7-minute
Intervals.
On HBO. So I kind of know what's going on, but not really.
Yeah,
all I know is that I'm pretty turned on.
Yeah, I hear you. I like the Aronofsky stuff, but yeah, that movie was very weird. But I definitely recommend seeing it at least once. Next fact for you guys: there's a place called Coober in Australia. It's a town where 80% of its residents live underground. What do you guys think of underground homes?
Dope.
Actually, stores too. They have bookstores. They have not Starbucks, but coffee shops. They're all underground. And the reason being, it's so hot there, it costs so much to air condition everything. So they just built it all underground, and it maintains the same temperature.
That's smart. I like that. I like A+. I like that one.
Would you live underground?
I would. I think any like I would live underwater if I could. Like, I think any like different kind of environment you can be a part of, I like that.
I feel like humans do crave something more than the normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think isn't that why people drink? And I know there's a lot of people, and I believe me, I get the feedback all the time about people who do not drink or do anything. They're stone cold sober, and my hat and my shirt and my pants are off to you.
Yep.
God bless you. Some of us can't get through the world.
Us
that way.
mortal people.
Yeah, some of us are just not that good.
Us lesser people, yes.
But
we require something.
But you do wonder. You do wonder if some people are designed to
crave difference.
Well, just crave more than your normal way of living.
Yeah.
For example, some people can walk down a pier, look at the sun, get it, and walk away. And some people need to smoke a joint and do that to get to the same level that sober person was. Now, you could argue that, is that someone that's just addicted to somebody or something, or is that somebody that is going through something? I think there's a lot of factors where you try to compare someone who's stone cold sober versus somebody even at a moderate level has a buzz.
Well, so the only reason I like mind-altering drugs, and maybe not so much the extreme ones anymore as I get older, but like just even marijuana, I would consider definitely mind-altering, just because it puts you in a different state. Anything that puts you in a different state allows you to think differently. And when you think differently, if you're in a creative field, that's what you're kind of trying to do. You're trying to think differently. You can see why artists, musicians, actors, all the such usually have to go to like rehabs and such, because a lot of times I think to get to that creative place when they're young, the weird thing about drugs is when you start off, when you're young, you first start off, it's helping you. It's helping you think differently. It's helping you experience life from a different perspective. The problem with it is as you use them, you end up developing a tolerance towards it. So you have to start doing more, which sucks.
And it changes your personality sometimes.
Absolutely. Well,
You're
every
not
time
sleeping on them, you're becoming a different version of your original self.
Absolutely. It can absolutely happen. I think as you use a drug chronically, a lot of things change. Body chemistry changes. When you experience things with a different mind state and then you go back to a sober mind state, you now have a different perspective on that same exact situation. So you're going to interpret things a little bit different. I think a lot of people that do LSD, and you could actually, they've been doing the microdosing of LSD, microdosing of MDMA. They're doing the microdosing. They're doing all of these in therapy style settings to see if they can unlock different parts of people's minds. A lot of times, man, the body is designed to protect you at all times. So you can repress memories, you can forget things that are important, and it's all just to help you continue on with your life. And so people using drugs to break through walls, break through repressed memories, I think is very beneficial.
Have you ever used something to repress a memory?
Yeah, alcohol.
So are you doing it because it feels... So I think there's a difference between doing something because it feels good compared to something that's protecting you.
Oh, yeah.
For example, there's times where I drink because I want to feel good. There's times where I drink because I don't want to have an anxiety attack.
Well, so you're using that
and
drug...
I don't want to drink, but I almost,
Well, you're using that drug then as for two different things.
Survival
You're
almost.
dosing two different ailments,
For sure.
So I think that's what. So original point was when you start doing drugs, you're doing them for fun. It gives you a new perspective. But as you grow on it, especially if you're in a creative field or a field that uses drugs to help you enhance your creativity or whatever you're doing, you start falling as that's a crutch for you. You start now being like, I can only paint if I'm high. I can only write songs if I'm drunk. And that's not true. Your body's changing, but what happens is you get to a point where you can't perform like you used to.
Yeah.
And then I think you start getting a depression. And then I think your use of that drug starts changing.
Agreed.
You're no longer doing it for the benefits of it. You're doing it because you think you need it in order to do whatever your task
I mean,
is.
isn't it like everything in life? Where...
Well, that's the problem with humanity, man. Like we want stuff, but then our bodies change and we become dependent on it. We become whatever on it. Our tolerance goes up.
Big believer that we all, as humans, we all go through a different cycle every 4 to 5 years where we change slightly mentally, we change physically.
Yeah.
Things about every 5 years. I feel like things that bothered me 5 years ago, I was like, Bird, you're being a bitch. It would never bother me now.
Well, so we were talking about way earlier about how with age do you get better opposed to youth, and you do. There was I was saying some things, absolutely.
Some people do.
But you get insight, like you just said there. You can compare. You have something from 5 years ago doesn't bother you now. 5 years earlier that bothered the shit out of you. It's because you've changed now. That thing is not that important to you. You've seen a larger scope of shit. So now you know that isn't as important to you. When you're young, everything's important to you, man. You go to fucking school with a pimple, it ruins your entire week, you know? It's not that I could give a crap now about that.
Ariel, did you ever get pimples as a teenager?
Not on my face, no.
Okay, what would make not your face. I don't even want to ask where. Okay, as a I would say the toughest, probably your most insecure, where things matter and you're starting to think like an adult. Let's go with just turned 17 Ariel. What would make
hormones abound?
I mean, I feel like at 17, you're starting to kind of get it.
Yeah.
You're starting to realize your parents don't know shit.
Yeah.
they're humans just
They're
like
just
you.
floating around on the planet like you.
They're just throwing shit on the wall too, just trying to make it stick. But you're also at a time where hormones ablazing, everything's the end of the world. What would a 17-year-old Ariel be very insecure about? There's a party going on. You have to go to the party.
Because when I was 17, I was going through like personal stuff. So I think it was just like the being alone and like not fitting in. That was the biggest, like 17.
So if you would go to a party, you would go and you would feel like, for example, that you didn't know anybody and you would act awkward. You'd be a wallflower.
I would definitely be a wallflower until the alcohol or whatever. I mean, I was 17.
At 17?
I wasn't drinking.
Gosh,
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Were you drinking at 17?
honestly, I was a pretty good kid. I didn't start drinking until I was like 19. Let's be honest.
That's
19.
what I drank the last week of my 18th birthday.
The Canadian legal age. That's when I started.
I was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Everybody was drinking in high school but me, it seemed like.
I didn't really go to parties when I was 17. I was a homebody. Like I went to like school events, but I didn't really go to like house parties.
Okay.
I hung out with my family a lot.
Okay. You're a family kid.
I was a good girl.
Okay. I love it. Denny's comments on Ariel's awkward stages?
Yeah, I mean, fitting in. So what's pretty funny is, I would say, because I can only refer to, starting in the 80s to now. But, like, so fitting in.
You old?
Yeah, it's every year. But, yeah, I noticed the pressure was always to fit in. You want to get with this group. You want to get with this. You want to join this frat. You want to be with this company. It's always about fitting in at a place. And now I feel like it's so opposite. This, like the last 3 years or so, everything's about standing out, being your own person, living your own life. I wonder if there's going to be a trend where it cycles back around to where fitting back in is again the cool thing. Because if you have too many people doing their own thing, it's hard to run a society.
Not unique anymore.
Yeah.
So I think what you were saying, Ariel, especially, I think it's a big problem for a lot of people. I think it's a problem for our boy Suits on the KVJ show. It is the initiating conversations with people you don't know. That's dreadful for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And imagine, think about when you were 15, 16 years old and you have that kind of thing where you're, like you're saying, a little social anxiety and you have a major crush on somebody. So you have all these feelings going on. Oh my gosh, I love him or I love her. I want to just talk to them. And you don't know how to even initiate it.
Yeah.
That's when some awkward shit starts to happen. That's when you start delivering pizzas to the girl's house and she doesn't even know it, and her dad answers the door. He's like, why are these fucking pizzas here?
You like say anything with like a radio over your head.
Oh man, yeah. Weird shit starts to happen.
It does. It's
Okay, but I feel like you've always talked about how you're able to go to anywhere on Earth. And within 20 minutes, you're able to get a pot connection somehow.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen. I've seen you do it everywhere we go. You're able to land a pot connection within 30 minutes.
I usually look around. It's gotten easier over the years, but when I was younger, it was definitely a trade.
Okay, so clearly you have that gift of the initial getting to know somebody quick. Yes, the ice breaking. Great. Somebody listening right now who struggles with just doing ice breaking, talking to somebody. They want to talk to a guy they like, or they want to talk to a girl they like. Give me your top 3 basic points on what to do.
It's all about keeping it as superficial as possible. So it depends what your motive is.
Okay, I'll give you a scenario. A guy, he's got some social anxiety. He walks into a work party where it's mixed with people's loved ones and work people. There's a lot of available people there that he wants to talk to, that he has a chance with, possibly. what does he do?
So I always try to open with humor. It's the easiest one. So it depends. So if I was to approach somebody at a work thing and I'm like,
Role playing, baby.
Yeah, so you work with them every day, but you never talk to them on a personal level. It's always work related.
The girl you see at the desk, she's so smoking hot, you've got the feels for her.
I always open up with a line like saying something down the road like, odd catching you here, or something like that. Something that implies immediately.
You got Ariel. She's in stitches over
That's
here.
what you gotta be like, oh, it's funny seeing you here. Like as and that immediately diffuses. And then the first thing I always do, this is what I do for any group situation. Anytime you're meeting a group, and especially if you don't know anyone, first thing you do, go up and get a round of drinks or get a round of appetizers if you're worried about them drinking.
But people have to be flexible in their thinking to do a move like that. Not everyone's like that, Dennis.
For sure,
You
but
know
it
what I
does
mean?
make it easier.
It does. I completely agree with you, but there's going to be some guy listening right now, fuck that, I'm not buying drinks for some guy I don't fucking know. Screw that guy.
Yeah, but I mean, they're making it hard on themselves. It depends. If that guy's not going to open up, then he's going to have a hard time opening up to people. If your goal is to talk to people, you're going to probably try to.
Yeah.
So you
finesse
want
a
to
little
light
bit.
it. You want to lighten it up a little bit. So that immediately diffuses. Think if you were sitting at a table and somebody you never met came up and said, "Hey, I bought you guys all a round of drinks. They're bringing it over." You're like, "Ah, this guy's cool as shit."
This guy's cool as shit.
It immediately now you have knocked down that pressure. All you're trying to do, people have their walls up immediately when they meet you because they don't know you. They don't know if you're crazy. They don't know if you're cool. They
What
don't
your
know
motive is.
anything about you. They don't even know what you're trying to do. Yeah, when you talk to them. So if you could put out something that immediately knocks down that first wall of being, that first line of defense. Now they're like, all right, this guy's kind of funny. So he's all right to stand next to me. Now you have to break down the next wall. Are you going to try to pursue them? If you're trying to pursue them sexually, you're probably going to take it from a different angle than if you're just trying to get to know them. And I think the spectrum of intensity that you lay on them kind of determines your motive. I feel like people can pick up on that. Now, if a girl picks up on that you're hitting on her and she doesn't like you, she's going to probably send a signal back saying, back off. And if you can take that signal and back off.
Some guys can't, man. Some guys are so dumb.
Or you can pursue it. Whatever your style is, whatever. But I usually just try to read the signals real. Just don't lie to myself. I read them real black and white, man. I look at it and I'm like, well, clearly, because if a person is interested, they're going to try to continue the conversation. They're not going to stop it there. If they're trying to stop it, they either have their walls still up or they're trying to tell you that they are not interested.
All right, we're back to role playing. And for this role playing, would you mind being a Southern man from Louisiana?
I don't mind at all.
There you go. Okay, so you're at the party. You just tried to talk to a girl. It did not go well.
Darn.
You made a joke about the deviled eggs. It didn't hit. She's walking away from you. Okay, now you see Veronica from accounting. She's walking up. She's having a drink by the punch. Here's her shot. What do you say? What do you do?
So the other lady just walked away. Like
you blew it.
The other girl, did she see me get turned down?
She did not.
But I did get turned down.
You got turned down. It was awful. It didn't work. So you're coming in with your Southern charm, so you thought, and it wasn't so charmful, or charming, I should say.
Well, so all right. So I turned down. I'm walking over now. I see Veronica, and I'm
Here's
like, all
Veronica.
right.
Hey, this punch is so good.
I'll be like, yeah. Well, I was talking to the other girl about deviled eggs over there, and she was not into it. What are your thoughts on deviled eggs?
What are you talking about? I'm over here trying to get some punch. Wait, who are you?
I'd be like, yo, I work in accounting. I've seen you a couple times in the hallways.
Can someone tell me who this limp dick motherfucker
Dude, this is
is?
definitely not how it goes, by the way. you usually have the weirdest retaliation comments ever.
All right, I'll play it straight.
It's hard to role play sometimes.
All right,
isn't
cut.
it?
We'll do a new take. All right, let's go back to role playing. You're the guy, the Cajun guy.
I'd be like, is this punch spiked?
I don't know. What does that mean? That's a creepy thing. By the way, I don't think that's a great thing to say to a chick. Is this punch spiked?
Means it has rum in it.
I don't know, man. Studio audience, is that a good opening line? Is this punch spiked?
No, I mean,
No.
you could be
Well,
like,
because if she goes no, I'm gonna
do you
be
want to
like,
share? Do you mind sharing?
Okay, there we go.
Well, if she says no, it's not spiked, I'd be like, well, then I'm not drinking it.
She's like, do you want to share my fruit punch? No, I don't know you. Why am I?
Well, why would I share her fruit punch? I thought we were talking about fruit punch bowl, where you like scoop.
This is going terrible.
I thought we were talking about fruit punch bowl.
Daddy, you're
Why would I
supposed to-
comment on her fruit punch
supposed
she's
to-
holding in her
You're
hand?
supposed to help these people, Denny. Yeah.
You gotta help me help them.
Let's get back on track here. All right. Oh my! Look at this punch. It's so tasty.
I'd be like, what's your favorite kind of punch? Mine's Hawaiian.
Oh, my favorite's donkey.
It's hard to role play with that.
I get it. No, this punch is so nice. How do I know you again?
I'll be like, I've been sitting next to you. You've been avoiding me for 10 years, bitch.
Denny. Oh my god.
I'm just playing. I think I'm just Daffy from this extraordinarily long example.
I thought you nailed the kid.
Yeah,
I thought you nailed it, baby. I thought it was awesome. How are we doing on time? I have no idea how long.
I have no idea. Well, let's see. It's 11:32. We've probably been going almost like an hour.
We could have been going for 20 minutes. We've been going for an hour. I don't know. Ariel, do you mind?
No.
I want to talk about the real quick the dick pictures of the
Yeah, let me pull it up.
the clouds.
Yeah.
So there is this. You ever see people, out in the sky doing the cloud art?
Yeah.
A lot of times, they had somebody here in South Florida that would always do Jesus Loves. Every time I was driving down to Bucky Dent Baseball School, I used to work at Bucky Dent Baseball School, Denny. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I was driving down south, and like every Wednesday there would be this plane doing all of this cloud art, and it would say Jesus Loves, and it was almost like calligraphy. It was so precise.
Yeah.
It looked amazing. So there is there's a story out. The U.S. Air Force officials say their pilots did not intentionally draw male anatomy with their aircraft. Now you have to see this picture. This is from the U.S. Air Force, and I believe we're putting it up on our screen right now if you're watching at home. It looks like a penis with two sets of balls on it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably popped up. We're just on a delay.
Is it are the U.S. Air Force, are they messing around, or you're looking at that right now?
Oh yeah.
Is that a penis, or is that just mere coincidence?
I mean,
that is a penis. Okay, chat room, if you're watching this, penis on there, or is this just a mere coincidence? I'm going penis.
Yeah, it definitely is a penis. How good do you have to be at flying and precise to actually spell stuff out or make a giant dick?
I don't know. Now, are you mad if the military is doing cowboy stuff like this, or are you just saying let people blow off some steam if they're in a high pressure situation, which being in the military is, if nothing's going on, let them draw some cloud dicks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for people having fun at their job, but at the same time, there's certain professions where I'm like, you got to kind of keep it a little more responsible.
No matter what.
Totally.
Okay, all right.
Like military, doctors, try to keep it a little responsible for me.
Military people cannot draw cloud balls and penises.
I mean, when they're off on their own time, for sure, but if they're on military time, I'd say probably not. And
now,
plus, that's in the air.
We want to make sure that we again say the military is saying they did not do it on purpose. Mm-hmm. But y'all saw the picture. Please check out the picture if you're not watching. It's worth it.
Well, there's those news bloopers where the guys are doing they're outlining on the screen how you can draw on the screens now behind them, and they're like, well, if the guy runs around this corner and he stops this guy, and then they realize they drew a giant penis, and they're like, whoops,
Well, that's just
I think it can happen by accident.
So I think it can happen, but there is a difference, I think, between flying a plane or a jet. And
I hear you.
Kind of marking something on a newscast.
I agree.
There is that one very, very funny. The woman is going. There was a crash down here on Atlantic. She circles it, and like, the whole time, you're right. It looked just like a penis.
And then they're like, "Whoops!"
Megan Moen in the chat room says, "Super young Air Force kid, a rookie did it."
That's
her
probably
opinion. That's her opinion.
That could absolutely be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know anymore. Plus, people it got on the internet.
Professions where you cannot mess around. A teacher just got in trouble because someone took a test and she put WTF on there. This is not complete. And she put the term WTF and everybody lost their mind. Can teachers not say things like that? WTF.
How old were the kids?
Does it matter?
Yeah, I guess if they're under 18.
I mean,
nah,
they're under 18.
Shouldn't write it. No, unfortunately.
We have a
it's
teacher.
It's a bad word. That'd be the same as writing, what the F.
We have a teacher in the audience. Is putting WTF on a paper out of line?
Yes.
Funny?
To me.
Yes.
It is funny. It's funny on the internet, but that's the problem.
So I think the teacher is trying to be relatable and
Oh,
try
I
to
get it.
get to the student level. But again, it's in that profession you can't dick around with.
Use the shaking my head one. Why do you got to say WTF? You know?
But you would argue sometimes an educator, and we're talking like your Robin Williams from
Dead Poet Society.
Dead Poet Society, humor and thinking outside the box and being relatable.
You're right.
Teaches people. That's a valid, strong educational technique. And I would agree with that. Sometimes you can speak a language to a certain age
Absolutely.
to get them. I mean, I did baseball camps for about 7 years, and I had to run a baseball camp from ages 6 to 9, from 9 to 12, from 14 to 18, and I had to talk to the 14 to 18 way different than I did the 9 to 10
Absolutely.
kids. There's a language, there's a way you do talk to kids. So should this teacher be crucified? Should they be fired? No. Lighten up.
I think it's a learning moment.
People gotta lighten up.
Well,
But,
so that one
people-
has a bad word in it. So that's the only reason I'm saying it. If it doesn't have a bad word, then I don't care if she uses internet language. Like,
could you argue
shaking my head is not bad for me. Be right back.
WTF? What the fudge?
If she wrote out fudge, then I'd be like, that's fine.
Damn, I thought.
Well, so
Wow, Denny's is getting older. He's siding with the establishment. Damn.
Well, the lesser-known To Sir with Love movie with Sidney Poitier, where he is a teacher trying to appeal to, I guess it's post-war England, so a lot of the people were misfits, I guess you could say. And he did the same type of thing. He tried to relate to them by using their lingo, but he also established discipline over them, that there is an authoritative figure. This is a very, ragtag, where all the punk rock music came from, with all the rebellion against the government.
Rock and roll.
And all that stuff. So, and same with Dangerous Minds, another movie. I feel like if you can get a person to relate to you, then they are more susceptible. Not susceptible is like it kind of puts a negative comment. They're more likely to want to learn from you because they take respect in you. If they respect you, they're going to want to learn. They take whatever you say as valid.
You bring up Dangerous Minds, the classic Michelle Pfeiffer movie
Awesome.
from the early 90s, soundtrack by Coolio.
Yeah.
Denny's impromptu finished the lyrics as I walk through the shadow.
Of the valley of death, I take a look at my life and realize that something's there. I haven't heard that song in so long. I haven't heard that song in so long. That's a
Denny's-
good song, though.
As I walk through the shit.
Valley of the shadow of death.
I take a look at
my
myself.
life.
I take a look at myself and realize that nothing's left.
Yeah.
Or is it I take a look at my life and realize that nothing's left? Because I've been fucking. All right.
That even my homies think that my mind is gone.
But I'll never. All right, we kind of nailed it.
I think if I spend a minute, I can remember some of it.
I think we get a D on that
Yes.
performance. We pass.
What year was that? Was that 94?
It's got to be 93, 94. It has to be. Chat room, let us know, please. I think we're going to go ahead and end the podcast.
Yeah, we've been going over an hour.
Good.
Look at
I love
that.
it. I love it.
Nice
Sorry that we didn't have a full team today, guys. It's been kind of a weird last couple months.
Holiday, too.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of moving. I've had some personal stuff go on. We're going to make sure that we get the guests. We're going to make sure we get all that stuff going back on. We appreciate your patience. Have patience with us. We promise we'll get back to fully operational, I would say, in two weeks. I still have to move all this shit. Look at all this shit.
Move. You got to set up everything.
Ariel, are you able to grab the camera and show just all of the figures and just show everybody how much? I mean, we have to move all of this shit.
You can take the phone off there.
And we have to take out all of these planes, and all of these figures are kind of old. It's the one thing that I've actually taken care of in my life, Denny's. You know how terrible I am at equipment.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's the one thing, all these Bigfoot stuff. So we have to individually move all of that stuff and not break it. So we appreciate the patience. We do love you all oh so much. And Bigfoot is real.
What was that? What? What's that sound? It's aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens? Well, you should be. Cause aliens wanna probe around in your booty. Aliens are here to take our resources, steal our water and eat all of our horses. Aliens are nothing like the movie E.T. The movie Independence Day is how it will be. To all the victims who have been kidnapped, Snack Pack dedicates this track. What was that? What? What's that sound? It's aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town.